Welcome. These will be my thoughts on The Ninth Jedi, Season 1, Episode 2, A Hidden Weapon. The episode, I believe, is rated 12, ages 12 and up. Certainly this video will be. And the video will spoil, these first two episodes, as well as the backdoor pilot in Store's Visions, and another episode that I love, 3 for 3. So I think we're gonna just dive right in, and yeah, I guess I'll very briefly note it was interesting that they did not really have action scenes in this. Like the one fight that there appeared to be turned out to just be old friends. That's just how they greet each other. But I am of the opinion that not every single episode needs that. There was enough tension with the stealth section in the game, I mean episode. And so getting right to the so they arrive, they're headed towards Beeben, and I realized that, as far as I can tell, the person who does the voice for Gramps, the droid, is the same person voicing Morph in X-Men 97. So that's awesome. Great to hear them in something else. And I think that does pretty much... Yeah, so and we get a I guess I can't quite call it a POV shot, can I? Because it's showing something that she wouldn't quite see, and except maybe with her mind's eye. But Kara is doing the yeah, we recognize from elsewhere in Star Wars the training with covering the eyes of someone force sensitive, so they can practice against those training droid things. And she does okay, but is told you have to focus on the now. Stay in the moment. And I gotta say, 2 episodes in, I already got Jedi Lingo Bingo. And let's see. But yeah, seriously though, it's very understandable that she is hyper-focused on her father. And I do really think it works well that they're drip feeding the backstory there, because I genuinely am not entirely sure exactly what, like, I feel like there probably is more to him killing his master, but what exactly is the thing? And I mean, he is helping. They take off his cuffs, and he doesn't try to stop them. He helps make the Kuiper crystal weapon. So, and I think that's the first time we see Ethan in this episode, and so he's sneaking around trying to get some intel. And yeah, I thought that worked really well, as we're saving some time. Not only are the audience finding out about the Kuiper weapon and all, so is Ethan, and he's going to report to the others. And we also have the tension, because otherwise there wouldn't be that much tension in the scenes with Noam in this episode. And I think that does bring us back to the crew of the ship. And yeah, so they are in contact with I want to say she was a princess, or was she a queen? I don't remember. Royalty, I'm pretty sure. Leader of the, yeah. And, the thing about, yeah, all you Jedi bring are chaos. Well, the backstory about, that was, we can understand why that would make them reticent. And yeah, they're told, you will land in the mining sector, which works for them. because while they do not mine, they also don't mind. And yeah, it was a really fun fight with the, you know, gauntlet being thrown down slash Excalibur test, I guess. And yeah, the they do the classic thing of, you know, as soon as the like yeah, once there's been this tense moment, then, you know, they start chuckling about, oh, how are you, buddy? And I think that is when we get the yeah, and so like one or two miners are about to step forward and is, you know, restrained, and, you know, I think his name was Kawan, is like, well, I'll have to excuse them, and explains. And yeah, I really appreciate this kind of thing of you know, so it's, there is a thing going on here of like, is every Jedi good? Because we don't really know too much about Nawam yet, and we don't know enough to make a proper judgment, you know, of Kara's father. And you know, Simu Liu is absolutely hitting it out the park. There's just enough, like, you know, I genuinely don't know if he is, you know, a good guy just trying to survive an ordeal or what exactly. But we have the exchange about, you know, I apologize, master. I've told you many times I am not your master. Why would Noam think he is? Like there's some kind of, you know, philosophy agreement, even if, you know, overall, like at the end of the day, you know, he is still in handcuffs, at least when he's in the cell. That was also great. The droid is like, listen, I know he, you know, I know he's not armed, but, and yeah, Nawam gets to enough fast, not unlike Thor, and telekinetically throws the droid away. I think that does bring us nicely to, yeah, the whole thing with Ethan, like, I really appreciate this thing of, you know, I don't know, I suppose I somewhat said that in my video in the first episode, but this thing of, like, having the good guys be somewhat underpowered compared to the bad guys, that is my favorite kind of Star Wars. And yeah, like, it's reminding me of, like, original trilogy stuff, this thing of, you know, just witnessing how powerful the villains are, and, you know, being in awe, like wanting to stop them, but there's also this sense of like, how do you even do that? Now, with that, let us move to the yeah, so we have the conversation at the, you know, as they're eating. And yeah, very unfortunate that, you know, he's just, you know, this common criminal, and then the guy's like, Uh, that's his daughter, though? Awkward. But, yeah, getting that bit of backstory, I genuinely am really excited to find out the context. Because, like, at the end of the day, you know, maybe there is, you know, maybe there is something to help make it at least milder, but right now it does look really like a, like a lot. And the fact that, because yeah, so he kills this other Jedi, and then he shows up to Joru and says, you know, he yeah, he asks, you know, to quote Joru, he asked that I didn't ask any questions, and then hurried up and added, yes, that includes if I want to borrow your thesaurus to write my future dialogue. And he's got Kara as a baby in his arms. Could the other Jedi have threatened Kara, maybe? Or, yeah, I don't know exactly. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna stop saying it because that would be the third time. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, at first the Kyber crystal weapon does not work. I shouldn't have gone to Elon Musk. I mean, there's a list of tech, you know, billionaires and such that you probably should not work with for this kind of thing, if you want it to work at least. And yeah, ultimately, the Simu character fixes it, and they fire after, saying, sending out the message to the, I really appreciated this thing of like, so he says he wants peace, and the way to get peace is through strength. So that definitely sounds like a dictatorship, maybe even specifically a fascist one. And, Star Wars originally, in the original trilogy, was, one of the major themes was fascism. The villains were fascists. And, yeah, I'm not saying I need that to be every Star Wars villain. I love some that are not that, but I can absolutely, I definitely do think, right now is the perfect time to criticize fascism with how much it's gaining ground here in the West. It's, yeah, something we definitely need to. Obviously, violence should only ever be the last resort, but we definitely have to resist it. We cannot let them take over. And messaging is a big part of that, especially keeping it, keeping violence as the absolute last resort, because, once you have people realize the threat of fascism, you're much more likely to be able to compel resistance without. Yeah. So I guess that does pretty much cover it. Let's see. I did kind of want to note, so there's a video I recently watched on YouTube called We Are Living Under Mr. Burns. I think, was it Unlearning Economics maybe, or something like that? Maybe it wasn't that specific YouTube channel, but a similar one. But yeah, it was excellent. I especially appreciated. It's a good video to send if you to someone if they insist that instead of windmills and such, we should be focusing on nuclear power, which, like, I don't know exactly how widespread that is, but I've definitely seen a non-zero number of memes claiming that nuclear is somehow better than windmills and such, and it's like, wow. But yeah, he explains it really, really well in the video, and also corrects misconceptions about nuclear energy. I think that does pretty much cover everything for this episode, but yeah, definitely looking forward to watching more. And yeah, it will probably be roughly a week before I do the next episode. And yeah, let's see. Right, I also appreciated that in this episode, now Nawan knows about Kara. That's, yeah. And I guess in closing, I just want to note, I don't know if it's gonna just be every single episode that has our crew, Kara and the others, traveling to a new place, meeting some people that at least one of them has some history with, at least one of whom was a Jedi or wanted to become a Jedi or something, and is perhaps somewhat out of practice, but is also still capable of wielding a lightsaber.